hit the record, hit the forward and a timer. And let's start. Okay, folks, thank you for streaming. This 16th episode of Yumio to Ohanashi features a screenwriter and novelist who won contest placements. Dina Mousa from San Diego, California. Thanks for joining here, Dina. So can you briefly introduce yourself to me?
Sure. Thank
Yes,
you
thank
so
you.
much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, thank you.
I'm originally from Egypt,
Uh-huh.
and I moved to the US late 2016,
Oh,
and I originally landed in Minnesota, but Minnesota was way too cold for me. So by 2019, my husband and I we moved to San Diego, which I love San Diego. And before that, we used to live in South Korea from 2010 to 2016.
I see. What a kind of long history because weeks ago, I interviewed Yin Leong, who interacts with you often, and she's an immigrant, you're an immigrant, and so do I. So we kind of know the
Yeah.
hardships we experience in America. So it's kind of very big common ground. And also, you often refer some really cult films, right? On your Twitter.
Yeah,
And
I
before
do.
before Thanksgiving, I urged to search Thanksgiving-rated trashy horror films,
Oh
and
yeah.
reach Thanksgiving immediately. Then Thanksgiving Day, you tweeted Thanksgiving, so I found, oh my god,
Thanksgilling,
yes,
yeah.
Thanksgiving. That was really trashy film, but it was
It's
good to watch. I see. So
it's been
yes.
a tradition in our family that we've been watching it every Thanksgiving.
Yes, yeah, those stupid people die in a stupid way with the cheap special effects. That was hell of a fun time to.
It's really brilliant, yeah.
Idea is great.
It's one of my holidays movies, yeah.
I see. Okay, so first of all, can you share your latest accomplishment or your temporary goal?
Oh, sure.
Yes.
So I actually just finished a residency at the Headland Center for the Arts
Haha.
in Northern California,
Mhm.
and it was just amazing. Like I spent
Mhm.
the most wonderful 5 weeks there.
Oh, 5 weeks.
Uh,
Wow.
with my with my cohort, my peers, and a lot of them are established artists. It was really
Oh,
beautiful place.
I
So
see.
yeah, it was really nice time. Uh, we had very limited Wi-Fi access. We didn't have cell phone signal there, so it was nice just like disconnect and relax for a bit and sit
I
down and do
see.
like nothing other than relaxing. So that was
Yeah.
fun. And um, I am actually writing my first Christmas rom-com, and I'm such a sucker for like Christmas movies. And my goal for the rest of this year is to finish the script, and I'm approaching page 70, so I'm more than
70.
halfway there. So
I see, I see. So we should composing and finishing the script because I also write a screenplay and I know it's very difficult, very difficult to
it's
even
perfect.
compose one
Yeah.
page compared to novels. So when did you discover the joy of writing?
Oh, yeah. So actually, like, honestly, I don't know, because like I always had this, like, I grew up with Egyptian folk tales and
Uh-huh.
mythologies. And like when we were really little, we lived like me and my cousins and my sisters who lived really close, and we would just like get together at night and like make up stories
I
late at night, and our moms like shout at us. Um, so yeah, like I always loved storytelling, but like in a form of like a story is told to me, and I actually don't understand math or science at all. Like my brain just like is blank when it comes to numbers and science, but somehow I always understood stories. Stories made so much sense to me. And that's was like how I experienced the world as a child. Um, so at the time, I was like, I want to be a writer. I want to tell stories.
Yes, it's like like lightning strikes you, like so kind of a moment. So the
Yeah.
what was the very first story that you completed in the past? Do you think you can share it on someday?
Oh, of course, it's like really goofy and silly story. I
Everyone's
was
first one
8
is.
and I remember that. Yeah. And I was like some sort of creature, like a giant creature that's like loose in Cairo and it's like going to destroy my neighborhood.
Huh.
My neighborhood is very little, actually. It's like in back stories of Cairo. Sorry, in back streets of Cairo.
Cairo.
So that creature was like, yeah, I grew up there. So the creature is just like going like destroying my neighborhood and our buildings, and I was like, I need to do something. It was really bad.
I see. Sounds like your version of Godzilla. Sounds like.
Pretty much, actually.
I see. So, which genre do you think you are good at writing?
So I think drama when I'm writing
Genre.
novels, because like usually I'm like a very, you see my tweets, I'm a very silly person. And I'm actually like that. I'm even worse in real life. I'm really silly and goofy. But when I write drama, it's like more like serious. My novel is really serious. And I think I'm good at it, hopefully, because my novel in progress is the one that I've been getting residencies and fellowship with, because I apply usually with my first chapter, my first completed chapter, and I have been extremely lucky and fortunate to be able like to go to the Headlands Center, for example. As for screenplays, it's totally a different story. It's actually horror. My favorite genre to write is horror or scripts because I always find what scares me and write about it. And it's not much scares me actually when I'm watching horror movies, but the few things that does, I usually write about my personal nightmares or like the worst case scenario that I would hate to find myself in.
I see. So, how do you brainstorm when composing scenes or dialogues or characters and so on?
So I don't know if other writers take that approach as
No,
me, but I find that it might sound random, but to me, it's exactly how my brain works. I found that when I visit places, they are
Racist,
like locations are the most thing that can inspire me. I don't understand why, but like I visited some very interesting places, and my brain right away was like, oh my God, that's a great setting for la idea or this idea, because I think locations are like their own character in any movie, really, or even novel for that as well. I think when you have very interesting setting, it kind of makes your story better because
yes, I think
your
so.
story needs, yeah, like because not every location fits for every story.
No.
So when you see the location first and inspire you something, that means the story in your mind actually fits in that perfect little location, and you can make something really cool with it.
Oh, I see.
So yeah, like locations inspire me a lot. I also read a lot. Mostly in any genre I write in, I read a lot in this genre to learn from other writers. I'm very lucky because I have an amazing writing group that usually I bounce ideas with, and it's very, very important. Like I'm so lucky I have those people in my life because they gave me really good feedback, honest feedback. My husband is like, and they're just like me, and we usually talk about my ideas and we try to find like the best possible little plot or story for the said idea.
I see. That's kind of a great relationship with others because my wife never reads my story, and she's only interested in this what we call boys love novel. Boys love novel or manga is those kind of affection with
Yeah.
boys, and that's why my wife loves it. Okay, so what is your writing advice?
Oh, so the best writing advice I have is like really write what you love. And I know it's so cliche, but like you sitting 12 hours on your computer writing something, if that's your full-time job, you need to love it to be able to do that. And if it's your part-time job or hobby, and like coming home after a work, like a long shift, and you still like have energy to write, that means you really like this. And for example, like if you write horror comedy, right, or comedy in general, write what makes you giggle, like
Yes,
what
yes, yes.
really sparks, that joy inside you, or drama, right, what breaks your heart. But be careful there because sometimes you get, as a novelist, sometimes you get like really carried away with like research and everything, and it can leave your heart broken. And that personally have happened to me.
Yes,
So just
too
be
much love
careful,
is not good.
practice a lot of self-care. Yeah.
I see, I see. And how about how do you push your imagination hard?
Oh, yeah, that's a good question. I, again, for horror, like I go what scares me, and then I start thinking about what can make it 10 times worse. What is the situation that I will not survive? And I know that's really bleak, but like when you write horror, you need to think like that. Because if it doesn't scare you as a writer while you're writing it, it wouldn't be very scary on the page for readers. And that's also not same as like writing horror comedy, because when you're writing horror comedy, you have to find the balance between the comedy and horror. And I personally, as we said, we love Thankskilling, and I personally think it's brilliant. But they found like this humor and they went with it and it worked. It's been like a cult movie for 10 years now, at least, I think. Um, so yeah, like always like think about it personally. And you need to distance yourself from your story, but at the same time, you need to find the core of your story and embrace it and say, how can I make this worse? How can I make my readers cry or laugh or evoke emotions with them? I also watch a lot of movies and I read a lot of
Yeah,
books,
that's a great source of information.
which it really is, because like I try, like if I'm writing a survival horror, I will watch that genre because it's great subgenre. If I'm watching creature feature, sorry, if I'm writing creature feature, I will watch creature feature. For drama, because now my novel is drama, I read a lot of like really sad but brilliant novels. And while you reading it, like it really, the ideas just start coming to you of like how can you expand that scene, especially if you're stuck in one scene and you don't know how actually to move forward in it, and you find that writer who like published and everything, and you're reading their book and like, oh my god, that's what I should be doing. um so I think that usually helps me. I also have very vivid dreams for some reason. So dreams also inspire me a lot.
I see. I'm sorry. We kind of running out of time. So let's wrap
Oh,
up.
sure, sure.
Any
No
message
problem.
to those watching this interview?
Or just like write and have fun. Have a blast with it, really.
I see. Very simple message. Have a fun because yes, I feel the same. When I'm writing, it's kind of fun. So finally, what is the most encouraging phrase that you recite when you want to pump up your motivation or crawl out from rock bottom?
Okay, I will make this really quick. So I really love Skeletor from He-Man. the original series, the cartoon in the 80s, because Skeletor never gives up. He gets beaten every day. Every episode, He-Man beats him, but he licks his wounds. He's up there. Next episode, he's fighting. And I'm like, it started as a joke. I'm like, oh my God, he's like the underdog in the story, but he always out there, not giving up. And it later became my motto. I actually have a poster here. My husband commissioned someone to make it for me, and it say like, Skeletor doesn't give up. And I hang that above my desk so I can see it every day.
I see. That sounds pretty great.
So be
Encouraging.
like Skeletor, everyone.
Yes, that's good. So anyhow, thank you very much, Dina. So folks, if you're interested in
Oh,
Dina,
thank you so
yes,
much for having me.
yes, please follow her account because she's pretty active online, and truly appreciate your participation in this segment, Dina. Wish you great success, and we'll keep you in touch.
Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.